Doomsday is coming and countless zombies invade the campus. Others are hiding under the table and trembling, but the protagonist threw the class beauty out. Let her be eaten by zombies. Because the current protagonist has traveled back from 50 years later. He clearly remembered the last life. I and two classmates blocked the door tightly. Don't let the students who are dead outside enter the house, but Lee Ruoxi, the class flower, is full of saintly heart. Ask the protagonist to open the door. Zhang Heng is our classmate. How can we abandon him? Seeing that the two did not agree, Lee Ruoxi even put on the airs of a class leader. I am the monitor. I won't abandon any of my classmates. After some moral kidnapping and accusations, Zhang Heng, who had turned into a zombie, rushed into the unguarded classroom as he bit the protagonist's arm. The protagonist's lifelong nightmare also began from then on. Due to timely arm, the protagonist was not infected and turned into a zombie, but was transformed into a semi-mechanical life by a mechanic. Take the time machine and teleport back to the present, and now he goes back 50 years. Just do two things, that is salvation and revenge. So when Lee Ruoxi asked to open the door, the protagonist just lowered his head and sneered when he saw this enemy. Then he said with a sinister look, the squad leader might have been bitten by a zombie a long time ago. Can you bear the consequences if you let it in? Did you see him get bitten? I am the monitor. If something goes wrong, I will take responsibility. The protagonist walked aside, made a please gesture. In that case, please open the door. No one expected. The usually honest protagonist actually did such a thing. Lee Ruoxi angrily accused him of not being a man. I actually let a girl do this kind of thing. The protagonist laughed disdainfully after hearing this. Say so much, aren't you just afraid? Only talk high-sounding words. Let others do all the dirty work. Take advantage of yourself. You are a hypocritical woman. Lee Ruoxi was embarrassed by what he said. Push the protagonist to open the door, but he just turned the door handle. Zhang Heng, who had already transformed into a corpse, broke open the door and rushed in. Lee Ruoxi screamed as she looked at the zombies that were so close to her. The students were also frightened and ran away. Lee Ruoxi took the opportunity to hide behind a boy. I wanted to push him out to die. The protagonist, who was well prepared, kicked the woman in the waist. With a sneer, he kicked him into the zombie's bloody mouth. Lee Ruoxi was hugged by a zombie when I was about to drink blood and eat flesh. The protagonist raised the wrench and swung it hard. Half of the zombie's head suddenly disappeared. Lee Ruoxi looked at the excited and crazy protagonist. I was so scared that I couldn't say a word until the zombies fall. He stretched out his hand and asked the protagonist for help with a horrified look. However, the man just looked at him indifferently. He picked up the door panel and blocked Lee Ruoxi outside the door. Everyone was shocked by him. The protagonist urged, "Why are you still standing there? Why don't you come and block the door?" The students blocked the door with all their might. Lee Ruoxi was terrified. He kept pounding on the door, crying and begging everyone to let him in. I am your class monitor. However, behind is the evil protagonist. Everyone didn't dare to move for a while. Gradually, Lee Ruoxi's voice disappeared. Did he escape or was eaten by zombies? The students started talking about it. I feel that the current protagonist is completely different from usual. Notice the discussion among the people. The protagonist looks back. The girls were so scared that they dared not speak. Are you afraid of me? The protagonist put one hand in his pocket, as if he had anticipated such a situation. Not afraid, not afraid. That woman deserves it. No, you just kicked her out. Our entire class must be buried together. The protagonist smiled warmly after hearing this. I hope you are not afraid. Open the door. I'll go out and see. The students are doubting their ears. Is this guy crazy? There are zombies outside the protagonist. Don't be kidding. Yeah, it's too dangerous. Get out of my way. The protagonist suddenly shouted angrily, under the horrified gaze of his classmates. Carrying a wrench, he walked out the door resolutely. Clean outside, both Zhang Heng and Lee Ruoxi disappeared. He was enjoying the sunshine and observing the situation. The door of the classroom was blocked by the students again. There were various doubts coming from inside. That guy is too dangerous. I just kicked the monitor out. Judging from his expression, he might have been a murderer. The protagonist had anticipated these people's reactions. He walked straight towards a female zombie when everyone thought he was completely crazy. He raised the wrench and rushed towards the zombies. In the surprised and horrified eyes of the classmates, smashed the zombie's head into pieces. After finishing, the protagonist gasped, reaching out and searching in the pool of zombie blood. Looking at the dark green energy black gold in my hand, he knew that his journey of rebirth and doomsday had officially begun. Watching him killing people outside, boys shivering, the girl vomited directly. It's scary that he's such a lunatic. I just kicked the monitor out. It's really too dangerous. Someone suggested that we release him to help fight the zombies. It was quickly rejected by others. Are you crazy? He's scarier than those zombies. Suddenly, the glass exploded with a bang. The protagonist appears outside the window with a wicked smile. Classmates, what are you doing in the house? Let's fight zombies together. More stimulation. The two boys were trembling with fear because outside the window, besides the protagonist, there's a zombie behind him. However, the protagonist who was attacked was not panicked at all. Kick the zombie in the abdomen to create distance, then a wrench headshot to easily solve it. He wiped the dirt off his face. He spat out with great disdain. Everyone in the room fell silent when they saw the scene. The protagonist doesn't bother to pay attention to these kids. Deliberately setups. These are so slimy and disgusting. I don't know if I will get infected. For everyone's sake, I won't be with you. After saying that, he walked away without looking back. I hope you guys don't die. See you later. Looking at the protagonist's back, everyone was scared. Is he leaving now? So what do we do? The protagonist carries a wrench and moves forward alone. Looking at familiar scenery, memories rush into my mind. In his previous life, he started to run away after being bitten in order to avoid being infected. The protagonist reluctantly amputated his limbs. After more than 50 years of wandering, until I met the mechanic. With his help, I was reborn and returned to the present. As the protagonist walked, he came to the shopping street. The people hiding in the house saw him alone outside. I thought the protagonist was crazy. However, after seeing him kill multiple zombies in seconds, these people all opened their mouths wide. Class Beauty Ruoxi hid in the shadows and gnashed her teeth in hatred. I will kill you sooner or later. At the same time, more zombies attacked the protagonist. He realized that this thing could not be killed. I have to find a place to rest first, so I turned around and ran towards the shopping street. There are many residents here. There is also a group of hooligans who occupied the KTV. Suddenly, the protagonist's attention was attracted by a convenience store. He quickly slammed the shuttered door, shout loudly, opened the door and let me in. Then turned to the surveillance camera, said he was injured. There are zombies chasing behind. The people hiding in the dark all looked disdainful. He's asking for death. Who would let him into the house? However, the rolling door slowly rose. The protagonist looked at it with mixed feelings. After dealing with the zombies behind him, he rolled over and hid in the house. The room is dark. There is only one little girl hiding behind the counter. A gentle smile appeared on the protagonist's face. This girl named Xiao Yu saved his life just like in his previous life. Come out, I see you, and give me the key to the rolling door. Xiao Yu hid behind the counter and dared not say a word. The protagonist sighed, pretending to cover his chest. He said, "Ouch, I'm hurt. It hurts so much." The kind little fish ran over holding the gauze. As soon as he threw down the medical supplies, he was grabbed by the protagonist. The fish was frightened. Blushing, she yelled, "Let me go. Hey, it's okay. I won't eat you. Give me the remote and I'll let you go." Xiao Yu tightly grasped the remote control. The protagonist immediately grabs it after taking a glimpse. The violent act frightened her so much that she almost cried. He rolled and crawled and hid behind the shelf. The protagonist kicked over the shelf. Pointing at the frightened little fish, he roared, "You idiot! I said I was hurt and you believed me. What a fool! So easy to deceive." The protagonist knew he had to teach this girl a lesson. Otherwise, the tragedy of the previous life will continue to repeat itself, even if I pretend to be a villain. Let the little fish know, in the end times, human hearts are far more terrifying than zombies. Xiao Yu wants to give him a new set of clothes. The protagonist also yelled impatiently, "What to do? Don't disturb me when I'm taking a shower." Then he angrily told him to get out. Hearing Xiao Yu leave in disappointment, the protagonist sighed. How can such a timid person survive in the end times? After taking the shower, the protagonist changed his clothes and went downstairs. As soon as Xiao Yu saw him coming down, he immediately hid under the table. "You little girl, are you the only one living here? Where are your family members? Dad went out to buy supplies. He never came back. Are you a pig then? How dare one person let me in? Aren't you afraid that I might do something to you?" Xiao Yu looked aggrieved. "You said you were hurt, and you were covered in blood, so I let you in." The protagonist roars again. I told him after I had frightened Xiao Yu into silence. From now on, follow my instructions, no private decision-making. On the other side, the gangster leader of the KTV, Centipede Brother. Call the brothers to your side. He has seen the protagonist fight zombies, so he decided to lead his men to kill. Occupy the convenience store opposite, grab all the food and women inside. However, when we really started fighting, we found zombies aren't that easy to deal with. The crowd was soon surrounded. A minion turned around and tried to run away, but he was grabbed by the hair by the Centipede Brother and thrown into the zombie group after he chopped down a few zombies. I took the rest of my brothers and ran towards the convenience store. At the same time, Xiao Yu brought instant noodles and boiled water to the protagonist. The protagonist put away the energy black gold in his hand. Let him stay downstairs. Don't come up if you have nothing to do. After Xiao Yu left, he wolfed down the instant noodles. It's so refreshing, I miss the taste. Instant noodles will become a luxury in a few years. Eat as much as you can now. However, while eating, the protagonist heard a commotion outside the window. Suddenly, suddenly a stone broke the glass window. The centipede brother reached out and grabbed the windowsill. I was struggling to crawl into the house. As soon as the two met, Brother Centipede threatened fiercely. "Come here, boy, and give me a hand. If you don't come over here, I'll kill you." Watching another enemy from the previous life appear, the protagonist walked to the window without hesitation, carrying the water. Unscrew the lid. With a crash, pour all the boiling water on Brother Centipede's hands. The centipede brother instantly let out a scream like a pig being slaughtered. The protagonist said with a wicked smile, "You want to kill me? Then I'll kill you first." But at this moment, a pair of small hands grabbed the protagonist's sleeves. He looked back and saw Xiaoyu bravely coming forward. "I want to let the centipede into the house. Stop hurting him. Just let him in." The centipede brother immediately realized the young fish is a breakthrough. The protagonist turned around and coldly told Xiaoyu to get out, and said that the man in front of him was a complete devil. "But my father said not to hurt people." Seeing the tears overflowing from the corners of Xiaoyu's eyes, the protagonist fell silent. "Aren't you afraid that he will kill you if you let him in?" The little fish didn't know how to answer, and the centipede brother licked his face and said, "No, absolutely not." He crawled in while laughing. He said he was just hungry and came out to find food. The zombies will leave on their own after they leave. Seeing that the other party had already entered the house, the protagonist silently protects the little fish behind him. At the same time, my eyes noticed the utility knife on the table. "Hey, thanks for letting me in." After entering the house, the centipede brother finally revealed his true face. "Wherever I go is my territory. Anyone who dares to disobey me must die. Little sister, you are so cute. I said I wouldn't kill anyone and you actually believed me." The centipede brother showed a lewd expression, full of dirty talk. When he turned to the protagonist, he completely tore off his disguise. "Dare to scald me with boiling water? I'm going to break your bones, chop off your limbs, and put them in a vase." The protagonist did not react to this threat. He gripped the box cutter, waiting for the moment when the opponent loses patience and attacks first. But Xiaoyu suddenly spoke. "Uncle, my family runs a convenience store. There are lots of food down there. Enough for everyone. There are spicy noodles, instant noodles, and bear biscuits." The innocent words made the two of them stunned at the same time. The little fish showed a sweet smile. "Let's eat together. When you are full, you will have no worries." Faced with such kindness, but the centipede brother thought that the little fish was humiliating him. He stretched out his big hand and grabbed the girl. Little did they know that the protagonist was waiting for this moment. As he hugged Xiaoyu, a flash of knife flashed in his hand, cut off the enemy's fingers in one breath. While the centipede brother screamed, the body rushed forward and stabbed the second knife with the backhand. "I want to put an end to this demon once and for all." Unfortunately, his arm was grabbed by the other party. The two sides were caught in a brief struggle. Centipede brother has more muscles. He shook off the protagonist, kicked him hard in the ribs. The protagonist's body flew backwards. Brother Centipede covered his wound and walked forward slowly. He roared with a ferocious expression. "Dog stuff. The biggest loss I've suffered over the years is from you." The protagonist struggles to get up, but his broken ribs made him unable to exert any strength. The centipede even stepped on his calf. Even if 2 lives, the pain is unbearable. The centipede steps on the protagonist's chest, planning to force out the secret of killing zombies. Hey, do you want to know? Call me Grandpa and I'll tell you. You're looking for death." The centipede brother kicked the protagonist's chest fiercely. Seeing the frightened little fish, the protagonist realized that if he wanted Xiaoyu to recognize the reality, "I need a strong medicine." He pretended to obey while the centipede brother lowered his head to ask. A mouthful of bloody saliva was successfully spit on his face. The centipede brother is getting more and more angry. Throwing the protagonist against the wall, he kicked him hard in the chest. "You think this is fun, right? Then I'll kill you like this." Seeing that the protagonist has been seriously injured, a pair of delicate hands holding a utility knife, it suddenly pierced into the centipede brother's collarbone. Brother Centipede never thought that this frightened girl would dare to attack him. He knocked the little fish down with a wave of his hand. He drew his knife and roared, "I'm going to skin you alive, you little bitch." However, the protagonist has already picked up the hanger. It hit him hard on the back of the head. The centipede brother rolled his eyes and fell to the ground. The protagonist barely holds onto his body. Heavy breathing? But Xiaoyu asked in a trembling voice, "Is he dead?" Seeing the blood on his hands, Xiaoyu became more and more scared. I kept muttering, "I killed someone. I killed someone." The protagonist reached out and patted his shoulder. I consoled him earnestly that the child was fine. "You did what you had to do with this asshole. But I wanted to save him. Why did he change after he came in? Aren't there mostly good people in this world? This guy isn't dead yet. Stop talking nonsense. Go take a shower. When Xiaoyu heard that Centipede Brother was not dead, he was stunned at first. Then he shouted to save him. The result is that the protagonist grabs the collar and throws him out the door. I've never seen someone as mentally retarded as you. Get out of here. The protagonist locked the door. Such a stupid teammate is really infuriating. He dragged the centipede's body to the window, kicked this bastard into the zombie swarm. After being thrown down like this, the Centipede Brother regained consciousness. However, the zombies around were attracted by the smell of blood. They rushed towards him densely. The Centipede Brother widened his eyes in horror. He will be in a conscious state, being torn apart and eaten by countless zombies. The protagonist still felt unsatisfied after listening to the screams coming from downstairs. If I had a better knife, I can chop off your hands and feet and throw you down. At this time, the protagonist noticed a gangster crawling out of the KTV next door. So I shouted from a distance, "Are there any living people over there?" The gangster said that the KTV has been occupied by zombies. Everyone is dead. Then he asked the protagonist for help. The protagonist gave him a friendly gesture. In the protagonist's eyes, only dead thugs are good thugs. But I didn't expect that this lucky fish that escaped. One day it will bring him into big trouble. It turns out that after solving the Centipede Brother, the protagonist found the depressed fish outside the room. "Didn't I tell you to take a shower? Why are you still here?" Xiaoyu tilted his head and looked into the house. It's obvious that he's worried about Centipede, but I only saw a pool of blood. The protagonist said he didn't need to watch it anymore. That guy has gone to hell. The little fish seemed very remorseful. He doesn't understand why the protagonist has to kill people. Even bad people have a chance to become good. The protagonist is very angry. I just paid such a huge price. This girl still doesn't learn her lesson, idiot. Haven't you seen the farmer and the snake? He is a bad guy. If you save him, he will kill you. This is the end of the world. The little fish murmured the end of the world. I never thought that the world I was familiar with had collapsed. The protagonist sighed helplessly, covered his wound, and turned to go downstairs. The little fish ran towards him. Then he suddenly fainted in the protagonist's arms. Girl, what's wrong with you?" The protagonist rushed to the bedroom holding the little fish. After putting the girl on the bed, he began to check his condition. Was he injured just now? But there are no bruises on the body. The protagonist touched the fish's head again. He is breathing rapidly and seems to have a fever. After some searching, the protagonist found a small medicine box on the bookshelf. After opening it, I found that there were other things besides medicine. There is a cute pink diary lying there. After opening the diary, the protagonist was stunned. What caught my eye was a donation list. Xiaoyu thoughtfully marked the amount after each kind person's name. There is also a note with a smiley face on it at the bottom of the page. "Thank you, uncles, aunts, brothers, and sisters for your help. I will definitely pay you back when I am well again. I will help more people then." The doctor told me that I was able to receive treatment thanks to the help of many kind people. I will be a good person in the future. The protagonist also found a medical record. He looked at the unconscious fish with mixed feelings. It turns out that he had been seriously ill since childhood. If it weren't for the help from the neighbors, I wouldn't be alive today. And lift up the girl's sleeves. Band-aids of all sizes. All of them are needle marks. Looking at the unconscious fish, the protagonist's eyes softened. Is this why you save people no matter what? But the world that treated you so kindly, it no longer exists. Suddenly, the protagonist touched the energy black gold in his pocket. He looked at the green ball in his hand that could change the world. I don't know if this thing will work for his condition. After a night, the protagonist lying on the table gradually wakes up. He glanced at the suit covering his body. Sure enough, Xiaoyu woke up earlier than him. At this time, I was hiding outside the door and peeking. "Are you up already? Feeling better?" Xiaoyu hummed cautiously. The protagonist is too lazy to tell him anything else. Wave your hand to let the little fish prepare food. Pack up your things. He wants to find Xiaoyu's father and send him over. Xiaoyu was very surprised after hearing this. "You mean to find my dad?" "That's right. Didn't your dad go out to buy some goods?" "I don't think it's safe here. Or should I hand you over to him?" "But my father told me to stay in the store. Don't go anywhere until he comes back." The protagonist asked a few more questions. "I just found out that Xiaoyu's father has been gone for 3 days. The time of receiving goods does not match the usual time. Use your pig brain to think about it. Your father hasn't been back for so long. Has he run into any trouble?" The little fish suddenly became nervous. Keep saying it's impossible. But the protagonist can't resist coaxing, deceiving, and intimidating. Worried about his father, Xiaoyu ran downstairs crying. Looking at the little girl who almost fell, the protagonist sighed helplessly. He went downstairs and packed a few bags of food. When I turned around, I found Xiaoyu hiding behind the shelf and didn't dare to come out. "What are you doing hiding there? Are you ready?" Xiaoyu bit her lip and was a little nervous. He changed into a cute new outfit just to see his dad. I also carried my favorite pink bunny bag. The protagonist is both angry and funny. Why are you dressed like this? We're not going on an outing. Never mind. It's up to you. Is the instant noodles I ordered ready? The two sat at the table with their backs to each other. Neither of them wanted to say a word. The protagonist eats and thinks. Wait until the sun is high, and then rush out to clean up the zombies. Then he stole a car and sent the little girl to her father. You can resolve your worries by yourself. Xiaoyu is eating spicy noodles at this time. The slurping sound makes people very hungry. Hey, is that spicy? Give me one too? When the two of them were sharing spicy strips, there was a roar of engines outside the house. The next second, a loud noise erupted from the quiet convenience store. The goods on the shelves were scattered all over the floor. What happened? Was there an earthquake? The protagonist quickly used his body to protect the fish, but I saw that the rolling door behind me had been dented by an off-road vehicle, a bald fat guy wearing goggles. He walked out of the car with a big grin on his face. This is actually a convenience store. I found a treasure while he was plundering. The protagonist emerges from the darkness. Don't move. Put your things down for me. The last bug that broke in? It has been thrown on the road to feed the zombies. I wouldn't mind having one more. Fatty reacts very quickly. Grab a handful of snacks and sprinkle them on the protagonist's face. I want to run away with the supplies, however. The protagonist is faster than him. Rush into the car and finish this guy off. Spare my life. I surrender. But the protagonist kept moving and was about to stab. Xiaoyu called him to stop killing people. Seeing the protagonist staring at him, Xiaoyu could only bite the bullet and shout, "He destroyed my shop. If I die, no one will compensate me." The protagonist snorted. Then he asked the fat man to use his car as compensation. Without waiting for him to refuse, he ordered Xiaoyu to carry the luggage. At this moment, a group of zombies emerged from the corner of the street. The protagonist quickly called Xiaoyu to get in the car. With a loud bang, he was crushed out of the zombie swarm. Fat people are also brave, although the protagonist pointed a knife at him. But as soon as I touched the steering wheel, I started laughing wildly. With his excellent driving skills, he can easily drift, but in the protagonist's opinion, this fat guy really deserves a beating. Almost threw myself out. If you don't drive properly, I'll stab you to death. The fat man was honest for a while, according to the protagonist's request. Go to Fudong Market where Xiaoyu dad is. However, it wasn't long before the fat guy said that driving like this was too boring. Listen to the music. No, it's too noisy. Can I sing it myself? The fat man sang all the way. The protagonist was also tortured all the way. Finally, he couldn't stand it anymore. Can't you just stop for a moment? I want to take a nap. And aren't you afraid of being distracted when you sing? The fat man said with a grin that this car is very hard. Hitting zombies is like mowing the grass. Besides, the road was so boring and you didn't talk to me. Stop when I tell you to stop. Where does all this bullshit come from? The protagonist roared and the car actually stopped. Seeing the fuel gauge reaching zero, the fat man screamed, "Oops. The car is out of gas." The protagonist was also shot. If there is no oil at this time, you will die on the road. He immediately greeted the fat man's ancestors, holding a knife. He was forced to go out and be used as human bait to lure away the zombies. No, now that things have come to this, let me be a full ghost. Xiaoyu, who was sitting in the back seat, was also so scared that she was sweating all over. Suddenly, a zombie stuck to the glass and made him scream. The car is surrounded by zombies. Any further delay will lead to a dead end. The protagonist realizes that the situation is critical and cannot sit still and wait for death. Suddenly, a machete behind the seat caught his attention. The next second, the protagonist kicked open the car door. The zombies were still surprised that someone dared to come out. The protagonist drew his sword and chopped off his head as if it were a watermelon. The shivering little fish looked out. My protagonist's brother is wearing an excited evil smile. Hey, what a good knife, with such a powerful weapon in hand. Ordinary zombies are simply food for the dead. The protagonist rushed left and right and hacked and killed. The crisis just now was resolved immediately. The fat man was also frightened by his fighting power. This horse is just strong. Xiaoyu didn't expect the protagonist's skills to be so amazing. At this time, the protagonist asked the fat man to come out to help. Don't be afraid of me. Calm down, you idiot. If you don't want to die, listen to me. After observing just now, the protagonist found that there were vehicles around. He asked the fat man to collect some gasoline. At the same time, he told Xiaoyu to stay in the car and not walk around. Then he got out of the car and started chopping melons and vegetables. Looking at the protagonist's back, the fat man has something to say but doesn't know whether to say it or not. Finally, he gave in. Tell the protagonist carefully. There's still oil in the car. I might have remembered it wrong. What did you just say? The protagonist's face suddenly turned dark. Then the protagonist slowly walked towards the fat man with a knife in hand. The fat man was frightened and quickly took the gas tank and started to refuel the car. Seeing that he was sensible, the protagonist spared his life. He also asked the fat man to help him collect energy black gold. As he said that, he cut open the zombie's skull with a knife. I picked one out in front of him. So disgusting. I think I'll just stay in the car. The protagonist is angry. I haven't settled the score with you yet. Do you want to die now? Now I'll chop one and you'll dig one? If you dare to be lazy, I will cut you with the next knife. The fat man suppressed his nausea and took out a shovel from the car, muttered softly, although I have a lot of flesh, I am also afraid of pain. You have to protect me. Fatty is such a talkative guy. Dig for me now. Fat people follow suit. Soon we dug up the first energy black gold after a busy period. The protagonist has eliminated all the zombies around him. He sat on the ground and felt that this body was not as good as the one in his previous life. It's time to use energy black gold to strengthen your equipment. Let's build a future weapon. He turned around and asked about the situation over there. Great harvest. After digging a few, it became easy, and it seems to be quite decompressing. The protagonist asked him to wash and dress up. Then he got into the car to check on the fish. Who knew that Xiao Yu fainted on the seat? His face turned red and he had a fever again. The protagonist was shocked and rushed to the little fish. Damn it. At this time, he touched Xiao Yu's forehead. It was found to be more serious than last time. So I looked for medicine and fed water at the same time. The fat man was very curious. What happened to your sister? Have you got heat stroke? Mind your own business and drive for me. Seeing Xiao Yu's complexion return to normal, the fat man asked again if he had heat stroke. Are you feeling better now? However, the protagonist directly put the knife in front of him. He roared with a ferocious face. It's because you lied to me that I didn't have any oil. If anything happens to him, I will chop you into pieces. The little fish has opened its eyes. Only then did he realize that the vicious protagonist actually cared about him so much. The car drove for a while and everyone gradually calmed down. The fat man said his name was Zhao Hing, specialized in car repair. The protagonist has just introduced himself. The car suddenly braked again. Why did you stop the car again? Do you want to die? The fat man's face was full of fear. It turned out that the road to Fudong Market had been blocked by the fire. Totally inaccessible. The little fish was very worried when he saw the scene. My father is still in there. How about we take a detour? The protagonist agreed with the fat man's opinion, but this knife is no longer enough. We must quickly strengthen our equipment. So I asked him if there was any home appliance supermarket or weapon store nearby. The fat man suddenly had an idea, shouting, I know. Then he turned his car and said he knew a blacksmith shop. The boss there is his fellow villager. The knife used by the protagonist was made by him. Fatty never stops talking until the little fish made a hush gesture. I just realized that in the battle just now, the protagonist is exhausted and sleeping soundly. The three of them soon arrived at the blacksmith shop. The protagonist glanced around and walked in front. As usual, I kill zombies and you collect beads. Unexpectedly, Xiao Yu called him from behind. Wait, I'll help you too. You don't need to drive back. If you suddenly faint or get bitten by a zombie, I won't save you. Xiao Yu knew that the big brother in front of him was not as fierce as he looked. He wants to do his best to help the protagonist. The fat man waved his shovel and praised the little girl for being so brave. Then I'll dig the beads and you'll collect them behind me. Don't worry, Lao Zhao, will protect you. The three of them started their cooperation. The restless Fatty and Xiao Yu also started chatting. Little did they know that there was a pair of eyes watching them secretly from a distance. Seeing the protagonist kill zombies like chopping melons and vegetables, tattooed man Luo Xiang blurts out a swear word. This was the first time he had seen such a ruthless person. At this time, a subordinate ran in hurriedly. I just called out Brother Luo. He was shot in the head by Luo Xiang on the spot. How many times have I told you to knock before you come in? Behind the dead men. The gangster Wang Sheng who had escaped last time was so frightened that his legs went limp. Luo Xiang asked him what was going on, boss. We saw someone killing zombies over there. I've already seen it. Why do I need you to tell me? I recognized one of the boys. He killed a lot of zombies single-handedly. Very impressive. Luo Xiang keenly realized that this was important news. I stretched out my hand and said, bring it here. The gorgeously dressed woman behind him came over with a pack of instant noodles. Luo Xiang threw the instant noodles into Wang Sheng's hands. Take the reward you gave me and eat it. Tell me more about it later. Thank you, Brother Luo. Luo Xiang patted the woman's head, says he's very angry. Next, he continued to enjoy the good show on the other side. At the same time, let Wang Sheng go out and tell him, who wants to go down and play with those guys? I'll give you a big reward. With the cooperation of the three protagonists here, a large amount of energy black gold has been collected. So the protagonist asked the two to guard outside. Then he kicked open the door of the blacksmith shop. There was no one inside and the fire was still burning. Then let the fat man bring all the energy black gold. Help him sharpen the machete. Pay attention to your surroundings. Fatty is curious. Aren't we here to get new equipment? Why polish it? Because in a week, these ordinary knives will be useless. We need to do something more powerful. The fat man was surprised that the protagonist could actually make equipment. Stop talking so much and go get the beads. After the fat man leaves, after the protagonist is dressed, next is the mechanic's first skill, forging. He heated the iron pipe he had just used. Then the clanging and pounding began. The fat man was stunned watching from behind. This guy is really good at forging iron. The protagonist asked the fat man to put the energy black gold into the metal container under the scorching fire. The energy black gold gradually turned into a pool of liquid that shimmered with a faint light. The beads dissolved. This effect is amazing. The protagonist is no longer surprised. He cut his palm, squeezed out the blood. As the blood dripped in, all the liquids began to boil. When the protagonist pours liquid on the blade, lightning-like green lines spread across the blade. Then there is a long forging time. The sound of knocking came from the blacksmith shop. The gangsters waiting outside were surprised. What's going on here? However, when they thought of Luo Xiang's mission, they became excited. As long as the protagonist is captured alive, you can eat instant noodles with the instant noodle girl. That feeling is like going to heaven. One of them suggested that we find a chance to hide first. Wait until it's dark at night. Time soon came to night. Xiaoyu wiped the sweat off his head. He has prepared dinner. He had no idea that a pair of black hands holding a handkerchief appeared behind him. At the same time, the protagonist in the blacksmith shop also entered the final stage. After processing the parts, he plunged the blade into the water. When I picked it up again, the lightning-like lines began to flow freely on the blade. All materials are ready. It's time to show you how powerful a mechanic is. After some assembly and polishing, a futuristic sword appears on the desktop. The fat man couldn't help but curiously touched it. The protagonist said that there was only one step left to activate. With high voltage current injection, the whole sword seemed to come alive and made a roaring sound. The protagonist picked up the sword and his eyes instantly became sharp. Sword forging level to completed, but it's too late to be happy. There was a sound of struggle outside. It turned out that Xiaoyu had been covered by the gangster's mouth and nose from behind and was struggling hard. Hello, little sister. Brother will take you to a good place. The protagonist rushed out with a knife, just as a few people were trying to escape. Seeing the small fish being carried on the shoulders, the protagonist's eyes suddenly turned cold. Put down your weapons and follow us to see Brother Luo, otherwise I'll kill him. The protagonist raised his sword silently without saying a word. The next second, a dark green sword energy cut through the air, killed directly in front of the gangster. He didn't even have time to react. It was split in two amidst the screams. The sudden scene frightened the gangsters. The one carrying the small fish ran backwards like crazy. Want to run, the protagonist raised the sword again. The second sword energy was swung out. The steel pipe in the gangster's hand was instantly annihilated. The next second, he was beheaded by the protagonist with a sword. Put him down now, or we can't escape. If we put him down, the knife light will come towards us ... and if the mission fails, Brother Luo will not let us go. As they spoke, a sword energy exploded beside the two of them. Looking at the protagonist, who was approaching like a killer behind him, the wretched man can only run away desperately. But at this moment, the fat man in the back reminded, "Oh no, there are zombies, they're so fast." It's like taking stimulants, seeing the number of zombies increasing. The protagonist is caught in a dilemma. Finally, he made up his mind and gripped the hilt of his sword tightly and rushed towards the zombies. The green sword energy keeps roaring. The zombies seemed to be made of paper and could not be approached at all. The fat man felt that the scene in front of him was too magical. This was completely beyond his understanding. The protagonist kills zombies while letting the fat man chase the criminals. After the fat man got on the car, he kept praying for the protagonist to hold on. Then he stepped on the accelerator and rushed towards Wang Sheng and the other man. They caught up with us by car. The two quickly ran onto a bus. The fat man then realized that the other party had planned it, and the whole building should be the chassis of the gangsters. They actually blocked the entrance with a bus. What can I do? Wang Sheng and his partner successfully escaped into the building. Several thugs armed with machetes got off the bus. Your car is really nice. Thank you for sending it specially. When the fat man clenched his weapon and was about to attack, a green sword energy slashed out from behind him. The two thugs were cut into pieces along with the bus. Watching the green film jumping on the cross-section, the fat man was so surprised that he couldn't speak. I turned around and saw the protagonist approaching slowly with a sword. Don't just stand there stupidly. Come with me and rescue people. Then he slashed out with his sword again. A bus of more than 10 meters, just like that. It was torn in half by the sword energy ... However, more hooligans were hiding in the shadows behind the bus. Preparing for an attack, the protagonist went to the meeting alone. alone with his new weapon. Whether it's a flying knife shot from the dark, or a hot Molotov cocktail, in front of the mechanic protagonist who masters future technology, all were easily killed. Suddenly, a gunshot. Gangster leader Luo Xiang finally shows up. Wonderful, it's really wonderful. He realized that the protagonist was the top existence in the apocalypse. Invite him up for a drink right there. He also expressed his willingness to cooperate with the protagonist to achieve a great cause. However, the protagonist ignored him. Luo Xiang can only threaten with small fish. I know the power of your weapon. Why don't we compare which is faster, your sword or my gun? The fat man whispered to the protagonist what to do. The fish is still in the other party's hand. The originally silent protagonist suddenly laughed. Sure. I'm working on a big project and I'm worried that no one will help me. I'll go up if you're willing to gather everyone to serve me. Luo Xiang also became excited when he heard this. I knew you were a man who could do great things. We will welcome you in the most grand manner. The fat man was so anxious that he kept jumping up and down. Are you crazy that we two are challenging so many of them? But the protagonist replied coldly, if you don't want to come, you can go away. The two quarreled for a while. The fat man just kept retreating, soon disappeared into the night. The protagonist glanced behind him. I hope he can do his job according to his instructions. Then, under the guidance of several waiters, arrived at Luo Xiang's territory. Welcome, I have enough people here. All the young and middle-aged people within 15 kilometers are here, and I am their leader Luo Xiang. The protagonist raised his mouth. I didn't expect to meet a big fish here to catch big fish. He also decided to drop a shocking revelation. Luo Xiang, I recognize you. Do you know how this zombie disaster broke out? Luo Xiang seemed very surprised after hearing this. You actually know me, and I know the reason for the zombie outbreak. Yes, you have keenly noticed the spread of the zombie virus. Stockpiled equipment and supplies in advance. And you also want to form your Yalong gang, right? As soon as these words came out, Luo Xiang's eyes widened. He only told this news to his confidants. How did you know? I'm really getting more and more interested. The protagonist took out an energy black gold. This is what you're interested in, right? Luo Xiang is in a good mood. Brother Yi's words really hit the nail on the head. Then let's not hide anything and get straight to the point. Luo Xiang took out the energy black golds. He has been thinking about this for a long time, but still can't figure it out. And in the protagonist, he saw the infinite potential of energy black gold. Your sword and your big project are related to him. Can you tell me what this bead is used for? Sure, but you have to prepare the props I want. Luo Xiang readily agreed. But the price is to observe the mechanical sword used by the protagonist up close. After saying that, he did not forget to remind, you don't want anything unpleasant to happen, do you? The protagonist silently handed over the sword, but the 200 jin strong man felt that the sword weighed 1,000 jins. Can't lift it at all. Luo Xiang also tried it and found that it was true. But now that the sword is in hand, he wanted to see what tricks the protagonist could come up with. The protagonist asked the gangsters to prepare the circuit board while introducing the situation of energy black gold. While arranging the wires at hand, you said this thing is adaptable to both metal and flesh. Could it be a magic pill? Can you become an immortal if you eat it? Luo Xiang has completely taken the bait. He wants to dig out all the secrets of energy black gold now. The protagonist snorted. Someone actually tried to eat him, but most of them turned into zombies. Luo Xiang was still wondering what the rest would become. The protagonist has raised the electric baton. Signal everyone to come closer. He's going to start demonstrating the power of energy black gold. Step 1 activation with high voltage current injection. A green electromagnetic pulse suddenly erupted around the energy black gold. The electric box in the distance also exploded violently. The whole hall suddenly became dark. Luo Xiang has realized something is wrong, but the protagonist has already touched his mechanical sword. In an instant, the green sword light cut through the darkness. The future leader of Yalong Gang, Luo Xiang, died. This terrible warlord, who will dominate the world in the future, once developed a variety of black gold weapons. Countless people were massacred and enslaved by him. Even the army is ignored. And now the protagonist wielding the mechanical sword has only one thought. Before you succeed, you must kill them all. When things get quiet around you, the protagonist turned back to check the condition of the fish. I might have become a butcher, but I can't bear to let you witness all this. I want you to realize the cruelty of the end of the world, but I don't want you to get stuck in it. The protagonist touched the little girl's face. This is all over for now. Then the fat man came in. Just now, he and the protagonist pretended to break up. In fact, it is to tamper with the electrical box outside. The protagonist collects the weapon dropped by Luo Xiang. Pushing the little fish and preparing to leave, suddenly a bottle of wine rang. It turned out that the instant noodle girl was shivering in the dark. Don't kill me, don't kill me. I was brought here by Luo Xiang. Please give me a way out. The protagonist is not a murderer. He asked the instant noodle girl to help lead the way and find supplies. The four of them left the hall. However, in the massacre just now, the instant noodle girl is not the only one who survived. Wang Sheng crawled out from the pile of dead bodies. In front of him, there was nothing but Luo Xiang's body. It is a black gold with green light. Recalling what the protagonist just said, to survive, Wang Sheng gritted his teeth and swallowed the energy black gold directly into his mouth. At this moment, a thunder exploded. His screams were just covered up. The protagonist, who was about to take a rest, knew nothing about this. He is the Holy Mother on high. Now, she is willing to be intimate with mutant zombies. Just because Li Ruoxi has completely turned black now. When he met Wang Sheng, who had mutated after eating the energy black gold, he was not only not afraid, instead, she used her body to seduce him to revenge against the protagonist, together with her. It turns out that after being pushed into the arms of the zombies by the protagonist, although Li Ruoxi managed to escape from school, but a gangster took him home. Here Li Ruoxi took a long-lost hot bath, but the gangster suddenly turned the door handle and walked into the bathroom. Li Ruoxi yelled at the other party to get out. The gangster stuck his whole body to the glass. Shamelessly express, I'm kind enough to take you in, but there is no such thing as a free lunch, right? Help, help. It's raining outside. Even if you scream at the top of your lungs, no one can hear you, unless you want zombies to rescue you. The gangster never thought that his words would come true. The windows in the house suddenly shattered to the ground. He walked into the living room with a knife in hand. The next second, he showed an expression of extreme fear. Li Ruoxi only had time to hear a series of heart-wrenching screams. When he looked out, suddenly I found out that the gangster who just wanted to force himself has been ripped open by a mutant creature covered in spikes. And this mutant creature is no one else. It was Wang Sheng who ate the energy black gold. It turns out that after the protagonist went on a killing spree, he found the shivering instant noodle girl in the corner. In order to survive, the woman took everyone to the warehouse where the supplies were stored. Due to power outage in the building, the protagonist can only ask the fat man to settle the little fish first. I went upstairs with a knife to clean up. It is precisely because of this oversight. Only then did Wang Sheng have the opportunity to eat the energy black gold, evolved into a mutant zombie. The process of mutation is very painful. Wang Sheng's scream was drowned out by the thunder. At the same time, the little fish suddenly opened his eyes. Fat brother, where are we? You were kidnapped by a group of gangsters. Your brother Yi has already dealt with them. While talking, the protagonist has returned to the house after he had given instructions on moving the supplies. Exhausted, he lay down on the bed and fell asleep. The sudden change in Wang Sheng's side made him go crazy. Killing the gangsters isn't enough. Then he extended his claws to Li Ruoxi, who was hiding nearby. Don't come near me, you monster. Wang Sheng's body kept shaking. He kept muttering the word monster. He lay on the ground and kept wailing. I'm not a monster. I am not. Why did it become like this? Li Ruoxi was startled by Wang Sheng, but he had never seen such a conscious zombie. What on earth are you? How did it become like this? Wang Sheng told Li Ruoxi that he was originally a human. When I was seriously injured, I ate a piece of energy black gold and became like this. Li Ruoxi only understood half of what she heard, until he heard the familiar name Bei. At this moment, the hatred in Li Ruoxi's heart completely erupted. No matter what kind of mutant zombie Wang Sheng is, he rushed directly in front of him. Did you just mention the protagonist? When did you meet him? Where is he? He grabbed Wang Sheng's hair angrily. The sound of gnashing teeth. Wang Sheng felt a chill. After hearing what happened, Li Ruoxi's face became even more ferocious. Take me to him now. I want to cut the protagonist into pieces. Wang Sheng quickly shook his head. The protagonist is too strong now. I can't beat. What grudge do you have against him? He is the one who caused me to end up like this. I have a mortal enemy with him. After Li Ruoxi finished speaking, she looked at Wang Sheng again. He was very curious about how Wang Sheng could easily kill the wretched man. Why not the protagonist's antagonist? Wang Sheng was also very curious. Aren't you afraid of me? Li Ruoxi let out a sinister laugh. He stroked Wang Sheng's dark arm, said in a seductive tone, not afraid. I think you are quite majestic. I think you are very strong. As long as you help me kill the protagonist, I can do anything you want. Wang Sheng couldn't believe it. I actually have the opportunity to be intimate with such a beautiful woman. He knelt on the ground and swore allegiance to Li Ruoxi with an obsessed look. But the next second he covered his head again, let out a painful wail. A night passed and the sky cleared up after the rain. The protagonist and others are also preparing to leave the building. He put on his gloves and sorted out the magazines. On his back hangs a mechanical sword he made himself. The whole person is fully armed and handsome. The three of them walked downstairs carrying large and small bags. The fat man suddenly yelled out, "How did my car become like this? My precious car can't even open the door now." The protagonist observed the cracks on the ground thoughtfully. He knew that last night's rainstorm could not have produced such a force. Now, there is only one possibility. That is, higher-level mutant zombies have appeared.